Today, on Being a Law Teacher, we are honored to host an exceptional academician, administrator, and thought leader in the field of legal education, Professor Dr. Sujata Bali ma'am. Professor Bali currently serves as the Dean and Professor of Law at IILM Law School, Gurugram. With a distinguished career spanning diverse roles, she has previously held the position of faculty at UPES School of Law, Dehradun, and she was a senior research fellow at the Department of Law's Himachal Pradesh University, where she completed her Ph.D. on the critical issue of banking frauds in India. Her academic journey is rooted in prestigious institutions like NALSAR University of Law, Hyderabad, HP University, Shimla. With expertise in corporate governance and banking laws, she brings a rare blend of scholarly depth and real-world insight. Professor Bali's research interests span a wide spectrum, from cyber law to women's rights to environmental concerns and legal educational reforms. Her publications are widely recognized, including Scopus Index book chapters and collaborative projects with institutions like NLIU Bhopal. Her work is a testament to the evolving role of a law teacher, not just as a scholar, but as a change maker. We are thrilled to dive into her journey, explore her perspectives on teaching, administration, research, and the larger canvas of life in law. I would like to welcome you, ma'am. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Avril.
So, ma'am, we have a few questions that we would like to ask you and understand your journey. So, the questions are segmented. The first part talks about your early journey and inspiration. So, the first question would obviously be, before being professionals in this field, we are obviously students of law first and foremost. So, ma'am, kindly take us through what inspired you to go on this journey to explore this path.
The answer is two words for me, my father. It was his choice of career for his second daughter. There are no questions asked. So, when you have an amazing parent providing you everything that you even aspire for, the only thing we can do is that have a more inspiring life around it. So, I think he inspired, and he gave me the clarity that the kind of attitude I had towards the life, maybe he noticed as a child, was more logical. So, he did realize that I will not be a yes person to anyone. So, the best idea is to actually start with the critical thinking and logical arguments in law. So, that was a very simple decision, I think, by him, which really cleared the doubts for me that nothing else but law was his choice, and turned my choice as well.
So, ma'am, with your encounter with law, at what point did you decide that academia was your calling? We see a lot of people who are drawn into law but not academia. So, what inspired you to take up academia?
That's an interesting story. So, my father decided that I would be a judge actually. So, in law he was very particular, it would be a judge, which is the only role he found was free from influence and power and could help the society as well. However, I do not remember imagining myself as anything but a teacher. And in fact, I wanted to be a primary school teacher, the basic teaching. That's when I think I was myself a student, when it's a funny take on it as well, when I thought that, oh, you shouldn't teach me like this, you should teach me like this. And that was the day I was like, I think I need to do this when I grow up and I'll become a teacher. The funny part about it is that kind of I forgot to tell my father that I'm thinking of teaching, and he was thinking of being a judge. So, when I completed my law graduation, and I told him that I want to pursue masters in law to be a teacher of law, I was very proud of myself. So as a child, I was like, I did law as you wanted. So I want to be a teacher. You should know that. And I did realize, we are the older generation, we really didn't tell our parents what we wanted. We just hoped that they knew, and it came as a surprise to him. But of course, being the kind parent he was supportive of that as well. So I pursued my masters, and so the choice was never between teaching or judiciary. The choice was what do I teach? So for me it was whether I teach at primary level, whether I teach specialization as like law. So that was the only question. But as you must call it, and you did call it as a calling, it called me. So I think I was very lucky that way, that I knew as an instinct, my instincts told me that I need to be a teacher. I will not be happy doing anything else ever in life.
All right, ma'am. So, ma'am, I see that you have been in this field for more than a decade now, obviously. And you have seen a lot of changes. You have seen law evolving around you. You have seen students evolving around you. So, I would like to ask you, what are the major changes in the Indian legal education system over the last two decades? And what are your views about these changes?
Yes, legal education has actually changed a lot. I remember when I started off law, law was mainly for litigation, and second choice, if you are going to a national law university, you might think of firms for a few years and then start something on your own. That was the other path that people took. But today, but at the time also, I still remember that it was not a popular choice. So in fact, I could do it because my father was supportive of this choice. I know of my classmates who are girls, kind of had to struggle entirely, yes, because it was not taken as a career choice for girls. And my class has a proportion of 80 to 20, 80 boys, 20 girls. Today, I see 50-50. Almost everywhere, and definitely at IILM we have a 50-50 ratio of gender ratio, which I am very proud of, that our classrooms are becoming more gender inclusive. But that shows something, that the entire society is taking up as a career for law, for girls as well. Secondly, I see that the society, apart from accepting law as a career choice, and that's by society I particularly mean parents accepting their kids' choice as law as a career, is also becoming ambitious about it. So people are asking about placements before joining the classrooms. People are asking about return on investment, which is a change. And I do not know if there is a correlation between the two, but the cost of legal education has gone up because of that, up very high because of that. So the cost of legal education that I see today is a major change from between 2 decades. However, at the same time, the private universities have filled up a space which was a vacuum earlier. So 2 decades back, you had options of a national university, and the seats were limited. Their number were limited. They were distant from most of the states. They were located at different corners of India. So if you wanted to make a choice, you had to really be ready for it financially, emotionally, and socially distance yourself from the people you belong to.
Correct.
So that was one choice, and the second choice was go to the traditional universities, go to a department, learn the law, and then come out and practice. However, now the picture of law seems like you want to learn everything within the 5 years of legal education. For that, internships play a big role. So well-rounded law persons are coming out of 5 years law programs, which is a major achievement of Indian legal education. So of course, I'll sum it up like that. If we can maintain the quality of legal education in the terms of the experiences, student experiences that are happening in the law universities, at the same time balancing it with the cost, making it accessible to all the talents of India, that would be a wonderful combination at this point of time. So the rising cost of legal education plus rising popularity of it is the two major things that I think have really changed in my lifetime in the last 2 decades as well.
So these are major positive developments, ma'am. So like you said, with that notion, a lot of students are now coming into the law. The popularity is also increasing, like you said. So we see a lot of students from different backgrounds, from different places, all come together, sit in one classroom and engage with one another. So given your vast experience, what is the best way to engage students in critical thinking and legal discourse and keep the class together during a 1 hour lecture or maybe a 2 hour lecture?
On this, I think what I would say is that what we got, the earlier generations got lucky with, and what I would expect the present teachers and faculty to focus on is accept the silence in classroom. As an administrator, as a dean, as much as I would love to have chirpy sounds from the class, I would appreciate the silences in the class when teachers and students both are comfortable thinking and sitting, taking a step back and re-looking at their own perspective. Now, why I say this is because of the age we are in, information age. It's very difficult to even sit for 1 second without opening your phone and going to Instagram or any other place. Now, that may be giving me a lot of information, but a very little time to do any thinking. And critical thinking starts first with thinking. And for the thinking, we have to be comfortable with the silence. So as a teacher, I would say is that now the role has also moved to ask the students to put their phones in their pockets of their bags and just sit and let the thoughts come to you. Because howsoever artificial intelligence may be there, it's still trying to copy how human brains work, and human brains work best in the boredom. So let's get bored in the classroom as well. Let's wait for that period of thinking to be over. Never push the students to give immediate answers, and expect that, trust that the students have all the abilities within them. Our job is to discover that as faculties. So when we allow that silence with ourselves, that means that in a lecture, if I'm comfortable being silent for a few minutes and listen to my students, they will also be comfortable with that silence when they are speaking to me, and then they will get the refined answer, which will be much better than when something we immediately respond to something. So for that, I would say some peaceful thinking time in the classroom, some more of discussions. So in the classroom, it's more dreamy on my part, but I wish the teachers get absolutely silent. So if in a classroom I find that the teacher's job is just as an observer and the students are managing it on their own, we call it flipped classroom generally. However, my idea is that it's more than the flipped classroom. The idea should be around that everyone knows that there is time for me to speak, and when I speak, I will be heard. If we can create that environment in the classroom, which is a kind of an island in the information age that we live in, where everyone is just throwing information on each other rather than listening to the other person. That's what all the social media does. I just tell you what my clothes are, how do I look, where I went for vacation. I'm not having a conversation in that. So two things. One is silence in the classrooms, accepted with humility, and secondly, the discussions in the classroom, which will take up the quality of the class. So both these things, if we can do, students will themselves come around to critical thinking. It's a process that we need to focus on rather than teaching them how to do it, because I think it's an inbuilt quality in human beings which artificial intelligence is trying to copy. We are critical thinkers by birth. We just need the time and space to do this.
Thank you, ma'am, for that great advice. I would like to implement that myself also in life. So thank you so much for that. Another question that comes to mind, that it is said that due to certain perceptions, young law students are not very drawn to the academia. It is not as aspirational like being a lawyer in the court, being in litigation, or being a corporate lawyer, or even judiciary. Like you yourself was also, your father wanted you to be a judicial officer. So what is the primary reason for this? Why not academia as a first career choice?
On this, actually, in any profession, 80% of the people at least are responsible for the success and failure of it. So I cannot shy away from the responsibility that we hold in academia as a senior generation. For example, I am responsible for your attitude towards academia, and it's my responsibility to show you the brighter side of it. As you mentioned my father again, when I had to decide that I am going to do academia, and the question was that, then show me how will you do. And this question is very genuine because he himself was an English literature student, and he tried teaching initial part of his career, but he did know that this is not a long-term career, and it is a very long journey that you have to go through before you can you can never be sure of a stable position in academia. Again, the responsibilities with senior academics to express that what it means, to show that it is a good career. So for me, it was my own guide, Professor Sanjay Sindhu. He is at Himachal Pradesh University, and he was not much older to me. So when I saw him, and I saw him teaching in the classroom for the first time when I was a student myself, I did realize that, oh, it is a career, it is a good career in law. So that reinforced my belief that teaching law can be a fulfilling career for youngsters as well. Of course, the chances of that happening is 1 in 100. That I got lucky with the parent, the guide. So I consider a major part is luck as well, and the mentors we get along with our journey. So mentors choose us, that they decide that we are worth it. However, at the same time, I think that to get a bit filmy on it, that अगर आप मान लें किसी चीज़ को उसको पाना है, तो फिर पूरी कायनात पूरी शिद्दत से आपको उसमें मिलाने में जुड़ जाती है. This is my strong belief. But at the same time, I think that we cannot shy away from the responsibility that academic institutions, the senior academic leaders are responsible for ensuring that the academics is a fair field, both in compensation and in learning opportunities as well as promotion. Unless we can ensure that, unless the academics ourselves, we cannot ensure the functionality of the system. I cannot promise anyone that it's an alluring career. However, I always believe that we make the path. It is difficult, but at the same time, as we call it a calling, there is a reason for it. I still remember my own guide telling me that, is it your calling? Then it was a different word at that point of time. And then yes, it called me. So if this is calling to you, academia is calling to you, then only go to it. Because the day-to-day efforts that we put into the classrooms and the effect of the teacher, as we say, is till eternity. What it means is that if I do a desk job, I may affect 2 or 3 people, or I may affect few billions or a large amount of money. But the human life, which is the most precious resource on planet Earth, 60 people at an instant, within an hour of my life, any day are influenced by what I say, what I think, and how I behave. So that's, I think, is a great responsibility. No remuneration can compensate that. At the same time, nobody can say that this is not my calling, that I do it just as a job. It's not just a job. So essentially, I would like a combination of students who are faculty of law, who are themselves deeply invested in their academics, and at the same time, the responsibilities with the seniors, us to guide them along the way. So if I think both of them these things can happen, the youngsters will also think it's a good, academia is a good choice. And I see that happening. I feel very happy to notice that in the recent 2 to 3 years, I'm seeing a great drawn of talent towards academia, and I am keeping my fingers crossed that this continues and we can carry on the legacy of the great teachers that we had in our lives.
Okay, ma'am. So when we talk about teaching and being in this profession, obviously a lot of focus goes to the part where we as faculty go to the classrooms and teach. Another similar, or I can say on equal footing, responsibility that we have is contribution to the academia by writing papers, doing our research. So being a young professor or even somebody who has already set their foot in, how do these twin responsibilities interact with each other, and how do they affect a teacher's or a faculty's life in general about managing these responsibilities?
Very nice question, Aviral, and the answer may not be simple because as an individual, we might like few tasks more than, we might like few things more than others. We have preferences. So some people prefer research, some people prefer teaching, being in the classroom, mentoring students. However, at the same time, because we are at universities, universities have a unique job of not only teaching the students but also leading the nations. Universities are not ordinary places. These are the places where knowledge is created. These are the places where new ideas are invented. These are the places where what's otherwise nobody can think of. Now, with that background, the research becomes an essential part of any academic. And that's what makes the professor in the assistant professor part. It could have been anything else. It could have been a teacher. It could have been a mentor. But we call professor because we have the responsibility of professing things. Now, to do that, balancing it, I would say that as I now look at it, it's already planned. So as per the regulator, UGC, in the initial years, one must focus on teaching. So the expectation is just one paper around for 1 year. If one quality paper you can create in 1 year, that's the expectation set by the regulator itself. And I think that's a reasonable expectation looking at the time that we get during teaching. And also because in initial stages of teaching, we are exploring different dimensions of the courses that we are teaching, we are exploring, we are reading more. So first 8 years, everyone should just read and write in between to ensure that the ideas are exposed to the word. And then there comes a feedback on the same. And then you start building on that feedback and republishing and maybe a counter paper to the same. So it happens automatically, almost as naturally as we breathe when we are professor, that we research from entering into the classroom. And I still remember that after almost every 5 classes, if I'm being not being liberal here, there would be one moment in the class and I would be like, I should note this down. This is a great research idea. So when you are speaking in the classroom and you are interacting with the students, and then you find, oh, in my course, this is a great, this is a research gap which should be filled by me. So in the first 8 years of a career as an assistant professor, one should focus greatly on finding those ideas and discovering as much as possible. Go wild with as much as you can read and write, but write quality in the initial years. At the same time, as we grow older in age and in academics, the expectation by the regulators is also the same, that you teach less. Going on associate professors and onwards, you teach less but you write more. And it happens so naturally as it would happen with aging people, right? So we see our grandparents always wise but doing the work of the minimal work, right? So because that's the course of nature. As a younger person, you are out there working more, and as an older person, you have collected all the experiences and now you are more in a position to advise. So I think that the scheme is as such laid down properly. However, I do understand with the changing times, there is a pressure on the, and I would include peer pressure also in that, on the academics to write more and more than write, publish more and more, and in publication also the bar keeps getting higher and higher. However, that's a good thing, because now it will be a test for the faculty, that what do I really stand for. If one goes with the pressure, okay, I have to publish this much, for that maybe I can leave my class 10 minutes prior, okay, and these ideas will come, or definitely will come. I have been on that path and it does happen. And then you will be like looking at the student, leaving them, or just leaving that next cup of tea or that party that you are invited to today. Those choices will have to be made. It will be hard, it will be difficult, but at the same time, once that choice is made, that I stand for academics, and I personally think that firstly I ask the questions that why is it such a well-paid profession? I think the reason for that is that we don't have any life except teaching and research for us. So that's why we are well taken care of in the terms of remuneration, so that others can do the laundry for us, others can drive us around, so we can focus on our research. So I think that's the essential idea of the universities and the professors in the same setup, that you focus, and when you focus, the research comes automatically to you. But however, I would suggest a caution here that do not hurry this process, let this happen naturally to you. And second thing which I would say that I learned later in my life is collaborate. As an academic and especially as a student who has been a topper, so kind of goes hand in hand. If hand in hand you must have been once a topper in your life, then only you choose academics because you appreciate the academic success. However, that academic success kind of teaches us to be alone in our efforts, because if I want to top a class, I have to do it alone, right, away from my friends all the time. But coming forward, fast forward to the academic career, I would say that those who collaborate, and a classic example would be the Faculty of Engineering. We look at their publications are there because they are collaborating much more than the legal academics, which really hurts us. So collaboration not only within the legal academics, but also with people beyond legal academia. So I would highly recommend that if you are a faculty, let's say in BB, LLB, or your focus is corporate laws, you must collaborate with faculty from management. If you are a faculty focusing on social sciences and laws, then you must collaborate with the faculty from liberal studies and social sciences, because that ways I have tried it once and twice and I have been stunned that oh my God, my paper looks so much better because of just a collaboration. I know we have to swallow the pride. Oh, there are two names on my paper, but my research paper. But I think it's totally worth it. And over a period of time, you build a great curriculum vitae because of that. And at the same time, your research becomes more productive. So as a legal thinker, and that was my biggest lesson from my PhD as well, that I thought I knew what law could do, but then I realized while researching on banking frauds that what technology could do, how much of banking frauds problem technology could solve. And that was my biggest learning from my doctorate, that it brought down the pride I had that, oh, law is a solution to almost everything. So before that, anyone would say a problem, I would give a legal solution. But suddenly I was, after my PhD, thinking of techno-legal solutions as well. So going forward, yes, of course, this is a long journey, we will know, but I'll give a pro tip that what I learned after my PhD, you can learn just right now, that collaborate and stick to what ideas come to you, note them down and patiently work on them. Though some ideas which are rudimentary today might be great after 10 years, but note them down and have a separate diary or a section of your devices for the research and keep visiting that place. Research is by default going to happen. However, I would insist on quality research and collaborative research.
All right, ma'am. So we talked about the twin responsibilities, that is teaching and research. So let me take you to the third one that you have. So you are a dean, so also an administrator. So how different is academic administration from teaching and research that a professor obviously does in their careers?
Again, as I keep saying that I have been lucky in having as a parent, as a guide, I got lucky in having an administrator as well. So once I started my career, I totally disliked administration, as any academic would. That, oh, they are unnecessary, they just bother, why do I have to sit in a meeting, why this is to be done. So of course I had the natural dislike for administration as an academic. However, as time passed, I saw what administration could do. What administration is for me background work. Of course, it's never primary in academic field. It's background work. It may seem fancy, but that's very lonely job. It's a very difficult job. As in a day, you might have to negotiate at 10 challenges altogether, while you cannot let those challenges get to your team. And you keep battling. So it's almost like a ninja fight that administrators do. But when I realized that a simple decision of administrator, and it could be simply opening a door. So for example, for me, I have an open door policy, and which simply means is that my student and faculty can walk in any time. And I say my students and faculty in the true order That's the order I follow. So for my students, sometimes faculty has to wait a bit, but that's the only two people who have access to me, unlimited access to me, apart from my son. So yes, that's what I do, but I didn't do it naturally. So I saw someone else doing it. And that's when I realized, when my previous senior, I saw that person, that person opened the door. I do it figuratively, I actually keep the door open, but I saw someone saying this, that I have an open door policy, please walk to me anywhere. I'll give you example of actually 2 examples. Professor Ranbir Singh, who is the Pro-Chancellor here, and he actually practiced that. And when I saw him doing is that, I had such a sigh of relief. Okay, I can talk to someone, and I was a student then at NALSAR, Hyderabad. But then I continued. I remember that even after 10 years, and I said that that's essential as an administrator. I cannot let go of that. Plus, I built on that. I built more on communications. We are meeting new generations in campuses now. Some are more comfortable chatting with you, some are more comfortable, and which I am uncomfortable with, but I do not close that window as well. So there are doors, open door policies, there are open windows policies, but the idea essentially is that administrators serve, and as long as we remember that we are the servants here, and we are responsible for ensuring that our teams, our students, our faculty are I would say a word, happy. That's the word I look for. Then in that case, our job, it's a fulfilling job as well. Of course, those who are starting their career in legal academics, I wouldn't say it comes as a direct choice. Initial years, one must get a taste of it. So again, the rules are simple. As a starting point, every faculty has to go do some administration. It could be just managing a class, it could be just managing a batch, it could be just managing a committee, or it could be just managing an activity, it could be anything. But however, when you do it and you see that, oh, behind the stage also I like to be behind the stage. I feel success when my conference is complete, and I'm so tired sitting at the sofa, but I feel happiest at that moment when my feet are aching. Then one realizes that, oh, I like administration. And if you don't like that feeling, then administration is not for you, because administration by itself takes away time from your teaching and research. It does happen. It's a balancing act one has to do, and it is a people-oriented job. So only the people who are people persons should get into administration. Everyone else should stay strictly away from it. It's I will put it like this: it's almost like the parent to people beyond yourselves, because if you think less than that, you are failing as an administrator. So the institution's aspirations, the student aspiration, the faculty aspirations take priority as an administrator.
All right, ma'am. So when we talk about you being an administrator, so what is your guiding philosophy when it comes to leading an institution? How do you align academic goals with institutional realities?
For me, the job is done easier by Mahatma Gandhi. So as a student, I remember reading one of our chapters, NCERT books, one of our books, and I think most of them started with that what is Tillis, he said that whenever I'm in doubt what decision should I take, I think of the weakest person I have seen in my life, and I think that how my decision will affect. So that just stuck with me, and also I saw that, and it's a very natural thing to happen, that when we keep things student-centric, and when I say student-centric, I mean the person who is ready to learn. And I imagine actually a weak person. It's not, I do not imagine a person who is entitled and who is socially competent or economically competent. I think of imaginary a student, and I take a decision based on that, how my decision will affect that student. So it might be a hard negotiation, or it might be the simplest decision, how to whether to smile in a lift or not. It depends on how it affects my students. So the student-centric approach is my the simplest thing. Whenever I myself get bogged down by various challenges and various task of the day, I start asking this question back again: how does it affect my student? And if the answer is that this is good for my student and maybe painful for me, I'll still go ahead and do it. So that's my mantra.
All right, ma'am. So I'll rather ask a simple question. So what, according to you, are the top 3 priorities of a legal educational institute according to you?
Okay, for that I may have a direct answer, less philosophical this time. Number 1 is quality legal education. I do not feel proud while using quality along with legal education, because for me legal education without quality is not even legal education. Then it's a blunder. However, at this point of time, we are looking at holistic quality legal education, which means giving the students experiences which are beyond the classrooms, making the canteen as well interesting for them as much as you are making the classrooms interesting for them. The second thing I think is a great challenge and is required all the time is faculty, good faculty support. And by that I mean is that it may be a very simple thing that every smart person knows this. I think I've seen many people who have a smart household know that if the parent is happy, that especially the mothers are happy, the children will be happy. The same applies to academic institutions. If the faculty is happy, the students will be happy. So faculty support in their aspirations, faculty support in their difficulties is extremely important. The third thing I would say will be to either reduce the cost of legal education or increase scholarships in it. Institutions are doing it on its own. IILM does a great deal of scholarships for students as well. But at the same time, I want it to be more accessible, still more accessible to the legal education, and increase the facilitation of litigation. Like in academics, there is patience required, same is in the litigation. And during that patience, we need financial support. So roti, kapda or makan are basic necessities. This goes without saying that even if I expect someone to have patience, I must make an avenue for these basic necessities of human life. So once I still feel that we are failing in inspiring the students enough to go for litigation. And the reason for that is nothing but lack of support in the initial years. So the first generation lawyers are still struggling, not making a conscious choice. I know in person that how many great minds litigation has lost just because there was no support in the initial years. So these are the 3 things which are on top of my mind.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for answering these questions. Last but not the least, what advice would you like to give to young students and professionals also who are starting their career in academia or in even litigation or are judiciary aspirants? What one mantra you could give them for them to stay motivated, for them to stay on their path and to continue their journey?
On this, I will look towards, I think, the ultimate purpose of law: truth and justice. As long as one is, and this applies to academia as well, as long as you are finding the truth through your research, you will do well. And as long as you are using that truth to support the cause of justice, you will do great. So stick to these 2 basic things, truth and justice, and these will never be at loggerheads. And if one person can commit to these 2 values, that person truly becomes a law person for life, whether you are in academia, litigation, a law firm, or anywhere in the world. There is no third thing for us to aspire for through our efforts. Our efforts must always be directed towards truth and justice.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing these valuable lessons and knowledge with us. I am sure the viewers and the law students and everybody who is watching will definitely like this personal experience of yours, and maybe they can apply the same in their lives. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you here with us, ma'am. Thank you once again for doing this with us. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time. And I would also like to conclude this episode of Being a Law Teacher. Stay connected to this channel for more such interactions. Thank you for watching. Thank you.
Thank you, Aviral. It was a pleasure. Thank you.